trust less. Y'all, that comment messed me up. So I'm getting ready for an event in Maine this week, and I sent out a survey to everyone. And one of the questions I always ask people is, what do you know about trust today that you wish you would have known earlier in your career? And someone made the comment, they said, trust less. And all I wanted to say was like, who burned you? But more importantly, it really challenged my thinking and got me to sit down and say, should we ever trust less? And so this is where I've landed. I believe there are moments in our lives where we're going to have a situation with an individual, a boss, a friend, a coworker, where we might need to trust less. But that's a moment in time. It doesn't serve us to walk around with a mindset of trusting less. Because when we do that, I think we start to turn away from each other in our relationships. And when we turn away, we experience less joy, less love, less patience, and less trust. And it's just not worth it. And it was interesting because I posted a comment on social media about this, and this one of my followers, Michael, he said that we shouldn't hold other people's trustworthiness hostage to someone else's untrustworthiness. And I love that. So maybe instead of trusting less, maybe there's some other mindsets that would better serve us in the long term. So I'm going to give you 3 to think about. So maybe instead of trust less, maybe a more empowering mindset might be, I'm going to be more discerning with the trust that I give people. And discernment is just simply this idea that I can have objective, good, sound judgment. And I find that sometimes people give so much trust to people who don't deserve it, and they kept giving and they kept giving to people who didn't deserve more of their trust. And they just kept getting burned more and more. And what they do is they finally say, enough is enough. I'm out, never doing that again. And so they start trusting less. When maybe what we need to do is to say, I'm going to give a little bit of my trust, and then I'm going to watch what people do with that trust. And based on their actions, I will have the discernment to know whether I continue to give or I don't. But I also had someone on social media say, you know what, I just give everyone my trust until they give me a reason not to. I'm not sure that's healthy either, and I'm not sure that's good discernment. I think not everyone deserves to hear your story, your intentions, your goals, your motivation. And so I think this idea, when we talk about trust, and part of my research is, it's about giving and earning. And so you give some trust, and then you watch what people do with it, and do they earn more of your trust? So maybe a better mindset, it was just say, I'm going to just step back. Instead of trusting less, I'm going to be more discerning with the trust that I actually give people. So number 2, maybe instead of trust less, maybe it's I'm going to learn to trust myself even more. And I define self-trust as this unwavering belief that I'm going to be able to have my own back, that tough stuff's going to happen, people might disappoint us, but I'm going to be able to get through no matter what happens. And one of the most important aspects of building self-trust is to speak up. And so that when something happens, I love the relationship enough to set a boundary, to address it with the other person. What I'm not going to do is bury my head in the sand, sweep it under the rug, and lose a little bit of my joy, my light, my hope, my trust, my patience with myself or with other people. And so maybe the better mindset is, you know what? I'm going to trust myself even more moving forward. And the third empowering mindset is that I either repair trust or I replace it. I want you to hear that. Listen, I think you can't be in any long-term relationship with a company, a boss, a parent, a partner, your kiddos, without disappointing each other at some point. It's just inevitable. So when someone says trust less, there are going to be moments in relationships that happen where maybe trust does take a hit. And I think when that happens, you have to make a choice that we're either repairing it or we're replacing it. And repairing it means we're going to talk about it. We're going to renegotiate this relationship about what each other needs. And we are going to commit to a change in behavior so that we can slowly, earn and gain that trust back in the relationship. And if for some reason we feel, or one person feels that is just not possible, then I am replacing this trust with something else in my life. And maybe that means exiting the relationship. And so I just believe that you can repair it or you can replace it. But there's going to be someone watching It's like, Justin, that sounds great, but I have to have this job. Or, you know what? I have to be around that family member in the holidays. And so if that's you and you're like, listen, I can't repair it or replace it, then I always want you to go back to number one, which is then have more discernment with the trust that you actually give those people in your life. So I hope it gives you something to think about. My hope for you is that you don't walk around in this world and in your relationships with the mindset and the belief that you should trust less. I just don't think that serves you, and I don't think it serves the relationships that you really love the most. So, no one tells you they believe in you. I believe in you. Thank you for making me think a little bit deeper about that topic.